I wrote these words on a flight back from Florida. Those who have read my essays or spoken with me for just a couple of minutes are aware of my affinity for this wonderful state, where my parents and brothers now reside, and for the exquisitely elevated leisure activity of jet skiing. Several years ago, I described an incident that occurred during a spring break trip to Miami with Maryland students. As I departed from the dock on my ski, the deckhand assured me that I could leave my glasses on, since the wind would be pushing into my face. For 58 minutes, he was right. With 2 minutes to go in my marvelous ride, however, I hit a massive wave that knocked the glasses right off my face and into the sinking depths of the Biscayne Bay. There I was, 4 hours before Shabbat, with no glasses in sight. This week we commence the third book of the Torah, Vayikra. The first word, fittingly, is in fact Vayikra, meaning, and he called, as in God called to Moshe. Looking at the scriptural writing, one will notice that the letter Aleph is far smaller than the rest of the word. The sages recount a debate between Moshe and God himself. The word without an Aleph would read Vayikar, which translates into, and he happened upon. Adding the Aleph transforms the meaning into called. The former implies an almost casual chance encounter, as if God simply came across Moshe but did not seek him out, whereas the latter connotes intentionality on God's behalf. Moshe, in his profound humility, wanted God only to write the shorter version, as if to minimize his exceptional relationship with the Almighty. God, on the other hand, preferred to express his special connection. They compromised, including the Aleph, but writing it in small lettering to limit its overtness. Rabbi Ari Khan notes that it is not just any letter that shifts the word happened upon to called out, that distinction between a casual encounter and a willful connection, but the Aleph. Aleph, as the first letter in the Hebrew lexicon, with a numerical value of 1, represents God, who is perfectly unified and ultimately unique. In modern Hebrew, the actual word Aleph denotes a general, the ultimate military authority. And even in English, the word aloof refers to someone who is removed from others. In our lives, the difference between a feeling of randomness and one of meaning and order lies in that one tiny letter, the Aleph, with its recall of the divine. Without that transcendent Aleph, life is but a series of disjointed happenings. With it, with him, a thread and purpose underlies it all. With my glasses firmly planted at the bottom of the bay, I felt hopeless and forlorn. Shabbat was approaching, and immediately after I had a scheduled flight heading straight to the annual APAC conference, where I would be vlogging for several days straight. However, within minutes of this episode, a close friend located a nearby optical center with 1 hour's service. For some reason, I was carrying my prescription with me in my wallet. Within a few hours, I secured a brand new, and much higher quality, I might add, pair, just in time for Shabbat, my trip home, and the conference. This minor incident allowed me to contrast mentally between the state of Vayikar, happenstance, helplessness, and despair, and that of Vayikra, in which God is calling and guiding me. The latter perspective changed my experience during this ordeal, and in the end, I was blessed to see the results. How appropriate a message this is as we approach the Pesach holiday. At this majestic moment, thousands of years ago, God held our collective hand and ushered us out of the crucible of Egypt into a covenantal connection of physical and spiritual freedom. The presence of this loving guidance is a central theme of the Seder experience, as we communicate from one generation to the next, God's historical and enduring engagement in our individual lives and in the unfolding narrative of Jewish history. Shabbat Shalom.